So, with National Convention right around the corner, I figured in this week's video I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about my experience with National Convention, more so competing at National Convention, and my overall experience on, I guess, a successful contest team. Hopefully to inspire you guys to put in the work to be on a contest team where you can advance further and further and get more awards and accolades with it, I guess. Just a little bit of motivation and just a little bit of my experience and what you can come to expect from those. So, the contest team that I'm going to be talking about mainly is the Conduct of Chapter Meetings contest. I did this my freshman year, and we ended up competing at nationals my sophomore year, because it was the next fall, so the beginning of the next school year. I competed on that my freshman year. It is an LD contest. It is not a CD, but it is an LD. And my overall experience with it was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it. Some of my good friends that I competed with on this team, but that's not to say that it didn't involve a lot of work and a lot of time commitment. Now, this isn't a video telling you specifically about the Conduct of Chapter Meetings contest. If you want a video on that going in depth, leave a comment. I can make a video on that, or I'll have like a little poll thing. If you guys want an individual video about that, I'd be more than happy to make a video on that. But this is just kind of my experience with this. I started out as a freshman, and my advisor kind of put together a team of 7 of us. So we started out practicing. I believe it was November of 2018 or December is whenever my advisor put our team together, and we kind of started practicing, started working together, started just studying in January. Started contest season, practices, all that stuff. Our first contest was the Mizzou contest. We took first place. And then we had our California contest. And I believe we had a Russellville contest and a Tipton contest. So we went undefeated all through there, all 4 of our first contests. We were super happy, but funny thing is, when we went into the Mizzou contest, our very first contest, we were super nervous. We got in there was a few mishaps with the whole scheduling, setting up the rooms, just some basic things that we weren't prepared for. We went in there, did our best. We were a little nervous coming out, and we ended up taking first. We were super happy, got to go get dinner after that. It was a great experience. Actually, speaking of that Mizzou contest, we actually ended up meeting some pretty great people during that contest. The Fayette FFA chapter within Missouri. They were one of the teams competing there, and we just kind of started talking to them, getting to know them. Super great group. We ended up beating them, so that's pretty great. I think they took second, but yeah, we ended up beating them. After all, our first contest, we went into areas. So area contest, we came in, we were a lot more confident because we had those 4, and we came out of area and we took first place. Then we went on to district. Can't remember exactly where it was, but I know we took first place. Then we went on to state. So the way state works in Missouri, I don't know if it is the same with other states, but so state in Missouri is a 2-day thing, and the first day is certain contest, and the second day of convention is certain contest, and we competed on the second day. We went down there and we competed. Let's just say this was a very emotional roller coaster of a day. So it started out, we competed, we had 2 rounds. We had prelims and then we had finals. So prelims, every team competed, and then they took the top 6, which competed for staging at state and what order you would stage in. So we made it through prelims. Honestly, that was probably one of the best run-throughs we've ever had. Then we got to finals. We didn't think it was our best run-through ever. I can't exactly remember what happened, but came out of the room, a few of my teammates were kind of upset, I guess I should say. It was a very interesting experience. It was a pretty tough motion too. Our advisor, super phenomenal coach, especially when it comes to conduct and parley, Mr. Richel, prepared us for everything. Every single motion that we had run through whenever we went through contest, area, district, and even state, we had ran something very similar in practice. So we were very prepared for this. And we came out and we were pretty distraught, I guess. We were pretty in rough shape after that. A few of the parents got to go in and watch us compete, and they also watched the other teams. So we had gone to our bus. We had sat there. Some of the parents went and got us food. We all ate on the bus. Well, some of the parents that had stayed and talked in that room had been watching and texting their kids, and they're like, hey, Nobody else is doing that amazing in this room either. I think you guys are fine. You guys are best team that's run through so far. And it's a pretty big confidence boost. We got on the bus. I kind of talked to everybody. I was like, listen, none of the other teams have done super phenomenal with this motion. It was a super tough motion. We're all right. So later that day, we had the award ceremony in the gym at Mizzou, and we got called there. We went backstage. This is another thing. So you get backstage, and they line you up by team. They're like, you need to go in this order, this order, this order. We got back there, and we were at the very end of the line. And we had thought that the order that we were in determined what place we took. So we got in there, and I think we finally came to terms, and we were like, you know what? It's been a great run. Wasn't our best, but there's nothing we can do now to change it. We go out there, and we go through all the awards and stuff, and there was one other team there. I believe it was the Lamar FFA chapter from Missouri. So shout out them. Pretty sure it was them. That were another phenomenal conduct team. And we were sure, oh, they're probably going to beat us. So we got, because I believe they were first or second in line. So we got out there, and they go through, they're like, 6th place, so-and-so FFA. 5th place, so-and-so FFA. 4th place, so-and-so. 3rd place, so-and-so. And it got to 2nd place. We hadn't been called yet. So we were like, oh, wow. Super nervous. And they got to 2nd place, and they said, 2nd place, Lamar FFA chapter. And that is probably one of the greatest moments I've ever had in my life. Standing next to my best friend, Sam, and we looked at each other, gave each other a hug after it, and we were like, we did it. We took first at state. We were state champions in something. It was a super cool moment. They ended up calling their Eldon FFA, first place. Got backstage, took a whole bunch of pictures with the plaque. And yeah, we were super happy. On the bus rides home, that was some of the greatest moments we've had. We got to bring a speaker. We blared a whole bunch of songs. We sung. We partied. All that stuff. After that, we took the summer off. He's like, I want you guys to take it off so you don't get burnt out. Because to that point, we had gotten pretty burnt out. A lot of us, there was a few of us that were on the point of quitting or on the brink of quitting midway through. So we took the summer off, and then we got back that fall, and National Convention is at the end of October. So we practiced August. That's what we used our class time in ag to practice. So got back, practiced all this stuff, and it got to National Convention. We were a little worried because it was pretty hard to get back into the swing of things, practicing every day, getting really motivated. So it came to the day where we were supposed to leave for National Convention. I can't remember exactly when it was. I believe it was October 21st. Or no, we left 24th, something like that. We got there a few days before it was supposed to start, and there was the beginning of the end for us. So we take the bus ride to Indianapolis. We had a huge going away party at the school before with everybody in the FFA, with all the officers, all that stuff. And they decorated the bus, and we were on our way to Indianapolis. Once we got there, we got to our hotel. We got to go to the hotel where we were competing. And yeah, so we get to that point. We go up to the hotel, and it all seemed surreal, but it was there. First day of competing was the first round, and we got in there, and at that point, up to that point, we had been representing Eldon, the Eldon FFA chapter. Now that we're at Nationals, we weren't known as Eldon. We were known as Missouri. We were representing the entire state of Missouri, which is a huge deal and a huge honor. And when we got to that point, I don't know, like I said, it seemed very surreal. So we got to the hotel. We competed the first day. So we knew, this sounds really bad, but we knew we were good. We had a very good coach. We had previous national winners, coaches, and some members come in and coach us, critique us, all this stuff. We knew we were good, but up until that point, like I said, these people would come in and critique us and torn us down. Like, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. Kind of destroyed a little bit of our self-confidence when we went in there and competed, but it was the best thing in the long run. Our advisor told us after that, he said, this is what they told me after you guys left the room, all that stuff. He was like, they're very good. I see this team doing very good at Nationals. You just need to clean up the small stuff. I'm trying to help them get that much better. and it really helped us in the long run. But first day we competed, super nervous. We competed, and it was one of our better. It was about mid-range on how well we competed. So we competed, and we got back into the room. They were like, oh, here's all the teams from each room moving on. So us in Florida, out of the first room move on. Florida, remember them. We moved on, and then we got to day 2, which was probably one of the most stressful days there. Because day 2 was the day where we found out if we went to the Final Four or not. And we were in a room with, can't remember, but we're in this room, and it was like only two teams from this room move on. Each room move on. There were 4 rooms, all that stuff. We competed, and it was super nerve-wracking. This was probably one of the best performances we've ever given. Super confident in it. We had done a motion like that before. Everything perfect. It was still super nerve-wracking, though. Like, why wouldn't it be? You're trying to figure out if you're going to move on to the Final Four in the nation. This isn't just state. You're the top 4 best teams in the nation. We got to the room, and they were going through the rooms, and they were like, first one is Oklahoma, Kingfisher, Oklahoma. And then I believe it was Wisconsin was the other team. And then they called Florida, and then we were the last team. So we were all celebrating, super pumped, and actually this is the picture from when we found out that we moved on. I'll put that on the screen, or like put it right here somewhere. And yeah, we got to that point, and this is probably the coolest part of the entire experience. So up until that point, we had competed in super small rooms, and we were like, oh, this is how you do it, like in front of a few judges to a pretty small crowd, maybe like 20 to 50 people. The Final Four at National Convention, you compete on a stage in a conference hall in front of hundreds of people. And they stream it to YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff, and they post it on YouTube. If you guys actually want to watch that, I'll link the video down below, or I'll link it here, wherever, if you guys want to watch us compete. We got there, we got into the room, and we had all of our study material. We're studying. We're like, okay, this, that, like studying all this stuff. Like, remember to do this, remember to do that, make sure we're good. And they called us up, and we went around the back of the stage. They mic'd us up. We had like these little lavalier mics like I have, and then they had like the little box they put on our belts, or they put them in our jacket. And we got up there, and we competed. Like I said, it was amazing experience. It wasn't our best, but it wasn't our worst, and we are super pumped. But there's this thing about this one. I'm not going to explain it because, like I said, if you want a video on conduct, I'll explain this. But there's a like pretty big like roadblock thrown in there, like a pretty big curveball thrown in there. And we were pretty confident in it because our advisor had said, hey, they haven't done this yet. They do it every year. And we prepared for it, nailed it. We were I believe we were like 10 seconds under time, like 7 seconds under time, something like that. And that was the big thing. 2 of the teams, Oklahoma and Wisconsin, were both overtime. And that was huge because we were like, oh, Kingfisher is our biggest like opponent. We already beat Florida. Florida was the other team that wasn't overtime. We competed. We were super nervous because we had a little bit of a mess up, but we competed from there. We did super good. All of our debates were good. We ran through clean, all this stuff. Even the director of it came through and was like, he was a professional parliamentarian, and he was like, you guys could run one of my meetings any day. You guys did great. Me and my friend after that went and ate lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings. Everybody else went somewhere else and hung out. Me and him just wanted some time alone because we were the only 2 guys on the team. And we went and ate, and we come back, and they had this big dinner conference. And up until that point, super nervous, most nervous I've ever been. And we were like, there's nothing we can do from this point, no matter how it turns out. And we get to this conference hall. It was probably one of the longest waits I've ever had in my life. They go through and award everybody like their pins. So you get a pin if you were like, I believe if you competed at nationals, you got a bronze pin. If you were in the top, if you moved on to the second round, you got a silver. And then if you were in the top, like the round that determined if you go to the finals or not, you got a gold pin. And we got a gold pin because we were top 4. That's on my FFA jacket right now. We got there, they served a meal. I literally barely touched it. I think me and my friend and like almost everybody else had barely touched our meal. And it was super nerve-wracking. And they go through all the awards. They're like, oh, top test taker, top test scores. And I think 2 girls from Kingfisher, Oklahoma tied for the top test score. They got a perfect score. And they're like best chairman in the nation. And our chairman from our chapter had gotten best chairman in the nation, which was a super big deal. And they're like, go through, these are the places. So they're like, Wisconsin took 4th. And they're like, Kingfisher, 4th. And then they said second place, Eldon, Missouri. And that was probably one of the biggest heartbreaks I've ever had in my life. Everybody was pretty upset. And I know we shouldn't be. And like at this point, it's hindsight's 2020. I look back on it now and I'm like, we were the second best team in the nation. I honestly think we were the first best team, but that's my opinion. I'm biased. But we were one of the top 2 best teams in the entire nation out of however many thousands of FFA chapters. And we got up there, we got our award, Florida celebrated all this stuff, and the judges came over and like, this is what we thought. And we had, the judges came over, they came over and were like, hey, you guys did amazing. I really don't know what to critique. Yeah. And we're sitting there, we're upset, we're like, well, if you don't know what to critique, we took second place, like, how is that possible? And one of the biggest heartbreaks I've ever had, again, here's a picture of us with the second place plaque, all that stuff. But yeah, so all in all, it was a great experience competing. I wouldn't change it for the world. The people that I competed with, some of my best friends still to this day. That entire team minus 1 is going to compete on the parliamentary procedure team at my chapter when it comes our time to do that. This will probably be condensed down because I think this is a 10-minute video on its own. But now I kind of want to talk about like the different aspects of it. So the first thing I want to talk about, just to get it out of the way, is the commitment. Now, if this is something that scares you away from doing these contest teams and you want to be successful on a contest team, this is something you really need to consider. Because I would say altogether. So we run like practices, we ran them every morning. Altogether with contest and practice, I would say we probably ran 200 plus demos. It was crazy. Each of them, I think our average time was like 13 to 15 minutes. We were always below time. And yeah, if you do the math, I'm not going to do the math, but if you want to do the math, that's a crazy time commitment. Plus all the tests. This binder right here, my advisor gave each one of us. Now I've stuck some other stuff in here in the meantime, but we have a whole bunch of stuff just on like notes, practice tests, because test scores were a huge deal on it. That was a huge factor on how good you did and how well you placed, because those were also considered points. And we probably ran, I think there was 2 300 question tests in there, plus probably 40 25 question tests. We all got graded on those. We had a big board where we put all of our test scores, averaged them out before nationals, and yeah. The time commitment is huge, but the payoff in the end is probably where it's more worth it. And this is the part that I really want you to focus on, is the experience that you have. First of all, I would not change this experience for the world. I can say I'm a state champion. I can say I competed for a national championship on the second best team in the nation. Nobody can take that away from me. Also, it doesn't hurt that if you're a top 4 team, you get a cash prize, and second place team is $600, and the first place team was $1,000, and then I believe it was like $250 for fourth place and like $400. Yeah, the experience, like I said, I get to say all those things. I got to compete with some of my best friends. We had some really amazing times. We had a party before we went to state at my house. We came over, we ate pizza, we played games, we just hung out. We also had, when we were at national convention, we got to go down to the pool, hang out. We got to go to some of our rooms. I think all of us except like 1 or 2 members of my team all came over to, I believe it was my room or one of the other girls' rooms, and we played What Do You Mean till like I think 1 o'clock in the morning. And it was just a super good experience that I wish that every FFA member could experience at some point. Also, some of the people that you'll meet amazing people from all over. Like I mentioned, the Fayette FFA chapter. Met people from the Marshall FFA chapter. I met people from, California. I met people from Lamar. Met people from Troy. Troy's another huge one in Missouri for FFA chapters, especially Parley and Conduct. I met people from Oklahoma, Kentucky, Tennessee. I met people from Wisconsin. Met people from Florida. Met people from, where else? North Carolina, South Carolina. Met people from California. I met people from all across the country. Heck, Puerto Rico was there. I didn't get to meet them, but there were people and members from Puerto Rico. You get to meet a ton of people. And like I mentioned, that's just people that I met outside of my chapter. Like I said, some of my best friends were on this team that I competed on, and we all still hang out to this day. And like I said, this will be our parliamentary procedure team when it comes to that. That's my experience competing on a quote-unquote successful, I shouldn't even say quote-unquote, we were a successful contest team. And like I said, it's something that I hope everybody can experience at some point, and it's something that I think everybody should try and experience. If you're an FFA and don't know if you want to do anything, this was me as a freshman. Me as a freshman, I didn't know if I wanted to do FFA going into my freshman year. Good thing I was talking to that friend that I was talking about on my team, his sister Ellie, talked, I think, 4 of the members of our team, there are 7 members on the team, talked 3 or 4 of us into joining FFA. I would say we didn't regret it after that. And yeah, this is just something that I believe every FFA member should experience, should try to experience, and I hope that you can experience at some point. Something I want to go ahead and say is sorry for a lack of content on the YouTube channel lately, but currently I am stuck at home. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I know it may be a little bit of a long one, but thank you guys for making it all the way through. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, hit it with a like. If you didn't, hit it with a dislike. I'd love to know what you thought in the comments section down below. Also, always looking for video ideas. So if you want me to cover a topic or talk about my experience with something or just give you tips for something, be sure to comment it down below. I read all those. I'll get back to all of you at some point. If you like more of this content, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I'll be posting more FFA and FFA agricultural related content. That's pretty much what this channel is about. It's called Jason's FFA Experience. So yeah, if you like that kind of stuff, be sure to hit the subscribe button to keep up to date with it. I also have Instagram. I also have Twitter. Not as active on Twitter, but I will be posting video updates and all that stuff there. I'm very active on Instagram, so I'll have both those linked. I'll probably have them pop up here as well without rambling on anymore. That's the video. I'll see you guys next time.